All right, what's up, everybody? We are doing another remote episode this week just to take some extra COVID precautions in case. But and then we don't have a guest today, but we decided to talk about, well, this came up because I actually did a podcast recording with someone else's show last night under, not for vulnerability is in or no subject, but for my music. And we got to talking a little bit about social media and such. And we also, on the episode last week with Delaney, we talked about social media a little bit. And it seemed right to, hey, let's talk about, social media and the effects of it on that it has on mental health and that kind of thing. And which I think is a conversation that needs to be had more. So
absolutely.
But I guess somewhere to start is, I guess a good starting point that I'll bring up is like, I get annoyed when I go to shows and I do nothing but see 200 phone screens directly in front of me taking a video that they are probably maybe going to watch one time the next day, but never watch again.
Yeah, I can say that I am the same. I've been the same way, regardless if it's a house show or even at a festival. And looking back on it, I mean, one, you're right. The only time that I really see them again, not even the next day, unless I put it on my story, but on Snapchat, like you have those Snapchat memories that come up. But even when the videos show up, the videos don't even do the justice of the moment that you were there. Yeah. You're being more present. And with COVID and everything that had taken place, now, whenever I go to shows, if I do, I will record my favorite song, depending on where exactly I'm at, like at the concert and whatnot. But really, I try to be more present, more in the moment, because, I mean, again, that is a moment that you're living in right there, like currently. And it's like no video can do justice of that. So I understand from a singer's point how that definitely can be annoying, because typically even at a house show or even the concerts that you've had, stuff like that, the shows you've had, seeing all of those, it's just like, you're not really in the moment. Whenever you're more in the moment, like whenever I listen to you sing, for example, I get more emotional whenever I'm in the moment of just being there and being present and being around the people that I enjoy being around versus recording the shit on my phone, So I see exactly why that may be annoying to you, because I'm even annoyed by myself. I'm one who has done it. And it's just like you look at those videos and yeah, it does take you back, of course, but still being more in the moment of it, it definitely is different than being on your phone the whole damn time.
Mm-hmm. I think when I think about that, I think the first time I realized how bad it was really getting with people filming things constantly, I was at a Paris show. And this was before they got super huge. It was right after the second album came out, I guess, if that. And the second Lynn Gunn walked out, it was just like every hand in front of me shot up. And I just saw hundreds of Lynn's on a screen.
Yeah. No, yeah. I definitely see how it's just like, I mean, it can be a very low artist or even a big one. Like I'm thinking the Harry Styles concert, I believe is tonight.
It is.
Everyone, even a few of my friends, they went to the Machine Gun Kelly concert, and like she was so close to him, and she recorded like this little girl getting on stage, and like singing his whole song and even the little rap part that's in there. And she got like 3.2 million views like on TikTok. But then again, like if you're up close and personal and you're like face to face with that person, I definitely understand. But if you're far in the back like me, I'm short. And I will say that's another reason why I do take out my phone, because it is hard for me to see over people. And typically whenever I do raise my camera, like I can see the stage better than versus if I'm in the far in the back being in the front.
I can see that. I don't have the short problem as much. So
yeah. But I mean, even springing off of that, of what you said, that's just one small thing. I feel like one of my biggest things that I have realized is going out to dinner with like friends or like a group of people, even like family, and like the conversation isn't there because typically like everyone's on their phones. At some point they're getting on their phone. Maybe not in the beginning, but it's just kind of like holding myself accountable because I want the people around me to know I'm being present for them. I enjoy their company, you know?
Yeah.
And typically whenever I am on my phone, I'm bored. I have nothing to do. And just, I've been reflecting on social media as a whole, regardless if I'm in a group setting or I am by myself. I think that it has negatively impacted me, thinking about likes, who's viewing my story, like, you know, how many likes did I get? Do I have followers? I mean, I even wanted to go viral on TikTok, which it would be nice, of course. I wouldn't complain if it did happen, but also spending that negative time in there, it's kind of like a negative mindset I'm putting myself in. And if I'm being 100 transparent with you right now, if it weren't technically for this podcast, and I really like the way that the podcast is going, I think a lot of people do hear our message, and we are speaking on subjects that typically we don't talk about. But if it wasn't for the podcast, I think that I would do a cleanse. And there for a minute, I did a cleanse before we got really into it. But I now am working on that balance of when to put my phone down and being more present for myself and for others.
Yeah, I remember you did that cleanse. And honestly, the only reason I really keep up with anything is also this, and then music stuff, which hasn't really mattered because I haven't been playing shows or anything. But like the only post I've made in the longest time was literally the first show, like the poster for the first show I'm going to have in like 2 years. But otherwise I just don't post much. I've gotten to where, especially since I moved in here, I've gotten to where I almost see no one's stories, no one's anything.
Yeah.
Just because I don't look at it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, shows will really start back up again. And I'm going to be like, I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah. But that is another thing. That's a positive to social media, I would say. There's a lot of shows that I wouldn't know about if it weren't for social media. It's just like this society and everything, like generation wise and everything, a handful of people do use it for the wrong reasons, because like we talked about, there could be couples that like post things, but you don't typically know like what's going on behind closed doors. But in a way, you feed off of other people and their opinion and you looking happy and everything. And now I'm more authentic with what I post. I mean, typically I just post myself here and there, but it's just like kind of an update that is my authentic self. That's what I look like currently. That's how I may not be feeling the best, but it's kind of like a hit or miss if I'm not as active as what I used to be. But I do share a lot of stories too, because I'm in that spiritual side of myself and where I see something that can not only benefit me, but for other people as well, you know? So, but really quickly, I did want to mention this. Delaney, we were talking about last week's episode, and one of her friends had mentioned to her, she was like, I really like what they're doing with this podcast. Not only, of course, with Delaney on here, but with us as well, being vulnerable and everything. She was like, a lot of people do see it as like a negative. And yes, people can talk about communication and trust, but we kind of dive deeper into that. And we go, it's not that we're seeing the bad all the time, but the real, we're being more realistic. And that compliment just really stuck with me because it does mean a lot, because this is, I mean, for Faith and myself, this is truly who we are. It's things that we've been through. And, you know, we aren't experts and your opinion might be different than ours, but I feel like a lot of people can relate to these things, and down the road, it can definitely help any relationship, any friendship. And that was just cool. That was cool to hear from her. I love hearing people's feedbacks and hearing what they have to say about us, because these are typical conversations that me and Faith had in the East House. And so it's just nice. And I think eventually it will get to the right people. Of course, it's about being patient, but for real, everyone listening, like, taking a moment to cheers to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank y'all for listening. Sarah actually texted me today too. And she was like, I want to be on an episode. And I was like, let's do it.
No, even people have reached out to me, being like, hey, I would love to be on an episode. Like, if you can think of a topic that like would benefit me, like, and it's cool. Even, it doesn't even have to be someone that I know, like, regardless, it would be cool to even have someone on here that thinks differently than us. It's not going to be an argument. I mean, we're very open-minded and we will see your point of view, but definitely it's one of those things where your voice matters just as much as ours. Like, it's cool that I find it as a compliment when people are like, hey, it would be dope for me to be on the podcast. Like, let me pitch this to you or whatever, you know?
Yeah. And we are trying to do more guests. So if anyone specifically has interest, then that's a good start.
Yeah, no,
anyone
for
who
sure.
Wants to. Someone also told me that you sound like an actual therapist.
Oh my gosh. Well, Alondra, Delaney's friend, she is so sweet. Her and her other friend, Hope, they were talking, and her friend Hope made the comment. She was like, I didn't expect Christian's voice to be like that. And it's like, you know what? I get that all the time. I'm more squirrely and girly. Like, whenever you do hear my voice, it just happens.
Yeah.
People are like, you look so hard on your Instagram. And I'm like, hey, I'm a bottom at heart, you know, like,
you kind of do look like that.
No, I do, but I'm this bubbly person. I think it's just not even me being photogenic, but it's just kind of how, like, I have my own authentic self whenever I take pictures. But if you talk to me, I'm probably going to, either my customer care voice is going to come out, or you're going to get like the squealy little girl voice.
Oh man.
Yeah, no.
I've heard your customer service voice because I've lived with you. So
yeah.
And now I have one too, because I do a similar
thing. It is different. And it definitely, I don't think it's a bad thing. My customer care voice is soothing to those who are escalated and cussing me out. But overall, whoever said that I seem to be like a therapist, that is dope. It is something that I've always been a people's person. I care about people. I care about, how they're processing their own life and getting through it. And it is something that I would love to do, but also I am all street smart, not book smart, and college would never be my best friend, for real.
Oh man, you'd be like the coolest therapist to walk in and have.
Right. But then also they would be like, are you serious? Like, who is this child? Which I don't get it as much now, but there for a minute with the short hair,
you don't look as young as you used to.
Yeah, no,
there is that.
It's all good. I tell everyone, there's this older lady, whenever I go back home, she's at the bar that we go to back in my hometown. And she always questions me. Like, I don't know what she wants. And my thing is like, if you're going to be rude to me, like, it's not that I don't believe in respect your elders. It's just with what I've been through as my child and everything. Like, if you're not respecting me, then like, I'm not going to respect you. Respectfully, I'm not going to respect you. And she always makes this comment. And she's like, what are you doing in here? Like just little sly things. And she was like, huh, like laughs whenever she looks at my ID. And she's like, you do not look your age. And I make the remark, I'm like, well, I won't look like you whenever I'm your age. So that's always my comeback with them, you know?
Oh, wow. You're something.
I know.
Wow.
But yeah, we have to put in a little jokes. Aside from all of that, I don't want to get off topic too much. Just again, appreciate our listeners. So
yes, thank you very much. Well, one thing I was gonna say before we spiraled off is like talking about wanting to show that you're happy and stuff on posts. I was reading a thing with statistics and stuff, and they were just saying, and I'm like, oh, it's so simple to say it that way, but that is what it is. But they were saying how, you know, people get addicted and they get so focused on crafting their online image rather than making memories with the people who are actually in their life.
Yeah.
And there's such this, like, they said that good old FOMO, aka fear of missing out, for anyone who doesn't know what that means, how FOMO has risen so much because of social media. And I think it's so interesting because that's made it worse. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, so there's this fear of missing out. But I feel like by creating, like taking all the videos at the shows or whatever, you know, outside of like one or something, it's like that's what's actually making you miss out.
Yeah, no, yeah. I definitely see that. And like from that side of having the whole FOMO thing, it's just like you said that like fear of missing out whenever you like post. And the only side that I have from that is like, I look at my Instagram followers and everything. And like, I do have I would consider myself a person who has a lot of internet friends that are all over the world. I mean, you know, my history. I don't necessarily, yes. It's not that I don't have friends here in Nashville, but I do keep up with the people that I haven't ever met in person. And whenever they post and everything, like I do love someone who is like my biggest hype man. And I love being other people's hype mans. Like I, of course, want you to feel yourself. Absolutely. But it is also one of those things where like, this is like putting mental health into the perspective of social media. I would say my circle as a whole has gotten so incredibly like small. And I wouldn't even say that as a bad thing. I wouldn't even say I've necessarily outgrew people. I'm kind of just going through this thing where some may think that I'm thinking selfishly, but at this point in my life, I am choosing myself. And regardless, with social media out of the equation, if it's not benefiting me in the moment and necessarily no one's doing anything wrong, it's just, I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm uncomfortable. And if it's not that I don't care about these relationships and these friendships that I have with people, that's not it. It's just, I'm putting energy into myself. And I feel like I need to have that open space for other people in order to match their energy that they're providing for me. And the thing is I had a fallout with one of, I would consider not necessarily a close friend, but a person that I obviously like have cared about. I had a really bad negative fallout with them. And it really got to me. But here's the thing. After reflecting and looking over the situation, time and time before the situation took place, I was in a situation where I was putting myself before them, not necessarily being at their calling, but kind of putting up with their shit and necessarily not putting them in their place in a respectful manner. I do have my moments of being, of course, where I can like not yell or anything, but in a way be very passionate about how I feel. But this just kind of escalated, and like she made the comment and it really got to me. And this is the only reason why I'm bringing it up. She was like, for someone who has a podcast about being vulnerable and being valid and everything else, you're not showing that right now. And it got to me. It really got to me because I was like, okay. And long story short with the situation, she did feel a certain way. And reading over the messages, I do get her point, but I was also reassuring her that I was understanding her point with the whole situation. It just kept going back and forth, and it got escalated to where she was saying hateful things, I was saying hateful things. But at that time, I removed myself. I did block her on everything, and that's something that I would like your input about. I feel like that's a big thing with our society, but some look at blocking as being a very immature and childish thing. But the way that I look at it as, why would I want a person that just showed that side to me and didn't care enough for our friendship because I wasn't putting them before myself? Why would I want them to see my things? Why would I want them to know how my life is? And I get it. People are like, oh, let them see how happy you are and everything. But why even put the energy out there? And the friendship did end very, very badly. I do absolutely wish her the best. She told me to get help, and like, surprisingly, it did take me on a whole path where I am getting help now, and I'm not ashamed of that. I'm actually glad that she put that perspective on, but still kind of like fucking rude. But overall, that situation, that was one of the most situations that took place where I was like, all right, I'm at the point in my life where if you want to fucking leave and you don't want to see my fucking side, even though I'm trying my hardest to make you feel valid, if I don't agree, then I'm opening the door, walk the fuck out. I'm done chasing. I don't fucking chase, I attract. Period.
It comes up. I don't chase, I attract comes up like every episode almost.
Yeah, but it is like, it's so accurate. And, you know, it is also another one. It is what it fucking is. I feel like people don't understand how intense friendships are and friendships can be. You don't have to agree with me. That's not what I'm fucking saying. But no matter what, regardless, even if I'm wrong, you'll tell me, hey, I think you're wrong because X, Y, and Z. But she was just twisting things, and she was like, I'm using I feel, I think. And I was like, yeah, you are. But also you're making me feel like a piece of shit whenever I'm not understanding why you feel and think that way, you know? And I feel and I think this way. And I'm done running around in circles with people. It's just like, if you want to fucking be my guest, dude, you're doing me a favor, you know?
Yeah. This will take us off the social media thing, but like when it comes to people who are, and I've learned this over time the hard way because I played into it, but when it comes to, when you end up in situations with someone who crosses that line and it starts becoming disrespectful and they're like twisting words or like pretending things didn't happen or, you know, just being hateful and, you know, especially like gaslighting really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Or especially if they get to the point where they're like raising their voice and stuff a lot. I believe in shutting it down and walking away because like you're not going to get anything from it. And typically when they do, most of the time when they do those things, they're wanting you to have a similar reaction back. And for me, it's about not giving them that. But also in the same regard, even more than that, it's about not wasting your own energy.
Yeah.
And wasting your own time doing it. It doesn't mean that you're not going to fix the problem, but it means you walk away and you figure out how you feel and be able to come back and then actually have a productive conversation. It's kind of like at work. It's like, you know, if someone's cussing me out or whatever, they're like, just tell them you're not, if it's not going to be a productive conversation, that you're going to have to end the call. And I'm like, that's how it is in real life too.
No, it is though. And like, what's crazy is like you walking away, like that's a big, in my opinion, that's a big ass power move because right then and there, silence is fucking key. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you're walking away and blah, 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 blah. Like, no, I'm walking away because this conversation has gotten to like, I wouldn't even say walking away. You're removing
Mhm.
yourself from that particular conversation in the heat of the moment, because words hurt. And typically for myself, if I'm in those situations, I don't bite my fucking tongue. And you're going to hear some shit that I don't fucking mean in the moment. And like, you said it, you mean it. No, that isn't the case. Honestly, if I'm removing myself from the situation, it's going to be best for both of us, because I think that's on growth. And it's like, yes, you can come back to the situation. But the problem is with that, Faith, is I would say that you having that perspective on that is you're at a tier of being up here on your own personal growth. And you've been in situations where you know what works best. But in a situation like that with a person who's on a lower tier with you, they're going to be like, oh, you didn't want to talk to me then. You didn't want to figure it out then. Why are you wanting to do it now? It's just like, the reason why it needed to be that way is I was doing it for what's best for both of us, but they think you're thinking selfishly. And in a way, it is like reverse psychology that fucking happens. And it's just like, it takes a lot for someone, even myself in my past, to own up to my shit and be like, I'm wrong. And now the people that I want in my life, the people that I want around me, and this is overall friendships, my relationship is very fucking healthy. But it's like, I don't want to be a friend to someone who's like, tells me how they feel and then doesn't want to hear my side. It's just like a relationship coming together and working through it. You can grow with your friendships as well. You really fucking can. But if you get to that low level of just the back and forth of the toxicness and like everything else, it's kind of like your brain is trained that way with this specific friend, because that's how every other conversation wants. And you're showing them that you've done this growth, but they're being like, oh, they still have that fuck you attitude. And at that point, you're like, okay, do I want to come back to this and do I want to work? But where I'm at, I'm like, no, you acted that way. I acted my way. We couldn't see eye to eye with this particular person of this situation that happened.
Yeah.
We couldn't see eye to eye. And, that's okay. Throwing my podcast in my face. Okay. If you aren't getting the fucking message that I have, that I'm saying here, it's that I'm not fucking putting up with shit that doesn't benefit me. And if you don't fucking like that, then like, I'm a loner now. Like, I like being home. I like being in my bed. I'm kind of antisocial. Like, there's a lot of shit going on with myself right now, but also I don't fucking owe anyone an explanation to that. And my main thing is like, people text me all the time, and if anyone knows how bad I am at responding, it's Faith. And it's like, I don't need to respond to you. Like, yes, I see how it may look like I'm ignoring you, but I don't have the space and I don't have the energy mentally to do it. And once the time comes, whenever I'm ready to discuss that with you, you being the friend that you are, you'll understand. And if you don't, and you think that, oh, I was just ignoring you, or my favorite one that I get thrown at me is, every time you're in a relationship, this is how like, shut the fuck up. No, I didn't want to respond to you because I'm going through my own shit. Like,
I feel like you're the same, whether you are or not, from where I sit.
No, exactly. And if anyone knows, it's fucking you. And it's just like, take it or leave it. Like, you're either going to support me and you're going to be like, yeah, I understand, but this is how I felt about it. Or you're not. And it's just like, it is what it fucking is,
I guess to pick one part of that whole spill to bounce back on, we'll get back to social media at some point. You know how these things go. We pick something to start and what happens.
Yeah.
But like, when going back to when you're in those like big arguments and stuff. And for one, me learning the hard way how to handle those situations legitimately happened at the East House, as you probably know. Yeah. But like, one thing I see when those things are happening is people want you, just from own past experiences or things I hear other people are going through. Most of the time it's like they're coming at you a certain type of way because they're trying to get you to do something the way they want to, whatever that is. I don't know. And whether it's something serious or not. And it's like, in their mind, they think, oh, well, if I act like this, I'm going to get what I wanted. And and it's literally like, if people learn how to accept, you know, their own mistakes and learn to apologize, it would get them so much farther.
Yeah, no. And like another thing with that is just speaking on myself about that particular thing is in my past relationships, I always was like, oh, those who love me, leave me, like whatever else. But all in all, like I had to own up to my own mistakes. I was not at all. I still am not. I'm still growing and I'm still learning how to be a good partner for my significant other. But still, that comes into like, I've accepted it. I've accepted my wrongs. I understand that I am not always fucking right. I'm a Gemini. I can be kind of fucking crazy. It's just one of those things where I'm proud to own up to it because guess what? I mean, all in all, like no one's perfect. And the thing is with a situation like that, when people are throwing shit in my face, I get it. Their emotions are high because typically like whenever someone's like that, they do really care about you. I get that. But also reflect on yourself for a second because no one's perfect. No one is perfect. I mean, that's why I'm not in a lot of people's lives right now. I don't necessarily know what's going on daily with like friends in Nashville. Like, and it's not that I don't want to be around them or anything. It's just simply like I'm going through my own wavelength because there is a lot of damage that I've done in my past that I have owned up to. And finally, I'm choosing myself to one, let that go and forgive myself. That's a really big thing because I'm not about to fucking reach out to these people and be like, I'm sorry, because guess what? They don't give a fuck, you know? So all I can do is I can learn from my own shit. I can learn and I can take it in and I can be like, hey, this is this. And making sure that, no, I'm not perfect and I'm probably going to make a mistake again down the road. But I can take the time to use those situations as examples and do a lot better than what I did in the beginning. And that's just that.
You know, I don't know if this follows that directly, but something else I was going to say earlier. Do you know who Marie Kondo is?
Marie Kondo. That sounds familiar.
I think it's Marie Kondo.
Marie Kondo?
I'm going to like Google it to make sure. Anyway, so like a few years ago, I'm looking to confirm that I have this right. Okay, it's Marie Kondo. You know, she shook the world a few years ago when she showed people how to fold shirts. And she had her own Netflix show and she helped people like throw things out, basically. Like figure out how like to choose the things to get rid of. And I never watched it, but people literally went insane with this show. I think it was in like 2018, 2019. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, she has a new show now. There's only like 3 episodes and it's called something like Finding Joy with Marie Kondo. And I turned it on because this one, you know, it's all about arranging your space and like getting rid of things to promote joy. I'm going somewhere with this. And I turned it on and I've literally only watched like the first part of 2 episodes. I haven't even watched a full episode yet because I just haven't had time. And Morgan was on the phone with her mom yesterday and I started one and she walked in when she was done. I was like, I've got to rewind this for the first 3 minutes. You have got to hear what this woman is saying. But she just talks about it and she's like, she basically says like, when you go to throw things out, she's like, look at every item and be like, does this give me joy? And if it doesn't, get rid of it. And she's like, she basically suggests, she's like, you can take this into your own life and it not even be about stuff.
Yeah.
And in the episode last night that I watched a few minutes of, she was like, you know, when I help people like this person, I repeatedly ask them, what brings you joy? And she said something like, following joy is how you follow the map to happiness. And I was like, man, Marie Kondo is out here really just saying such profound things. And I'm like, you talking about, you know, in relationships that don't serve you or, you know, that bring you down. I'm like, we got to Marie Kondo that stuff.
Yeah, Marie Kondo that stuff. In a way, though, like spinning off of her and like her message of it, does it bring you joy? It's also like in a spiritual aspect, like the universe coming in and like trusting the universe and what the universe has in store for you. And like kind of in a way, like, does this particular thing bring you joy? And specifically to speak kind of to turn off of like little items. Does this bring me joy? Does this bring me joy? After that situation, that argument happened with that particular person, I went through my Snapchat and I didn't know about this. Does this bring me joy? But I did ask myself, does this person benefit to my life? Do I know what's going on in this person's life? Because me and Delaney were talking about it a little bit. Texas, I'll bring her back as Texas. Me and Texas were talking about it a little bit. And it's just like, whenever you're in high school, you want everyone on Snapchat. You want to know where the parties are. I mean, in instant, you want to meet new friends. You want to meet new people. You want to see what's going on in people's lives. And for myself, during high school, I was very, not necessarily nosy, but like I was a person who was very like outgoing with other people. And not that I had a big friend group or anything, but it was just like I was very social. And so now that I've gotten older, taking out the high school side of myself, kind of a growth time, I was going through my Snapchat friends list and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what do I have? What is going on here? And like, it literally like going through even the simple thing of your followers and who is seeing your stuff and whose content you're seeing as well. Does it bring you fucking joy? If it's not benefiting you, why are you looking at it? And I think it's very fucking weird for a person that you do not like or whatever, you don't fuck with, following you. Or like I even caught myself, not that I really don't have a fucking problem with anyone in my life right now. There probably are a lot of people who don't fuck with me, and that's fine. But after like looking at it, and I'm like, I don't even know this person's like middle name. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this person's life. Why am I following them? And of course I want to support them and whatnot, but it's just like, it's weird to me now. It is fucking weird because in high school I wanted it, but now as I'm getting older, I want to be more and more private with myself.
Yeah. And also the more people you're following and the more that's in that feed, like the more you feel like you need to go through things to see it.
Yeah.
And it's like limited to what you really need to see.
Yeah, no. And it is a little, those small little things. I mean, for my own personal self, it's not even an unfollow or anything that's required, but like 9 times out of 10 after, like, you're not going to see it again. Like, you know, after you unfollow, you're not going to think about it again. You made the reference, once you take a video of something at a concert or whatever, you're probably going to watch it the next day. It's going to come up in your Snapchat memories, but you're not going to go searching for that. And if you do go searching for that particular person, then that's a conversation that you need to have, like, kind of with yourself. Focus on yourself more, because that person, more than likely, like, as real as I'm being right now, probably doesn't give a fuck about you. Like, all in all, that's what I'm learning more and more, like, who gives a fuck about me and who doesn't. But I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. I would rather find it out now than just be like putting in effort and energy to people who don't fucking deserve it. I'm a great fucking person. I know that I am, you know? And it's like, I want to feed into people that are also feeding into me, like, positively, not negatively.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Basically what you just said. You know, talk about videos and how, like, you never go back to look at them again.
Yeah.
I was talking to Morgan and I was like, look, it got crazy. But, like, there were some real good times in that house. And I was like, let me find a video of the first party we had.
Yeah.
I don't have one from that party. I have that group picture and that's it. And I looked at her and I said, I don't have a video. And that's how you know I had a good time.
Yeah, no, even the parties, like, I mean, I myself, gosh, all my Snapchat memories right now are from the fucking East House. I always had my phone out, and it's like I look back and like the memories that I'm seeing, I do cherish, but also they bring back dark times as well. Because I was even in a bad place with myself during that time, not even pointing fingers at anyone. It was just my own shit that I had been going through. But
everyone had some stuff going on in that house.
No, absolutely. And, thinking about the East House, I think everyone who was under that roof has grown independently in different ways. And it's totally cool with that. But I am glad looking back, I don't have necessarily any regrets, because that dampering time in my life, it wouldn't, all these tragic, not even tragic, that's dramatic. All these fucking terrible times that took place, drama, whatever, relationships ending, whatever it may be, like, it has made me who I am today. And that is the person I can honestly say on this podcast right now, I am fucking proud of the person that I am becoming. I'm even fucking proud of you, Faith. Like, we have come a long way. We definitely have. And it's just like, pat ourselves on the back. And, some people may think I'm conceited or cocky or whatever. It's not even that. It's that I used to look in the mirror and absolutely hate the reflection. I thought I was ugly, like all those other things. Now I look in the mirror and I'm like, you are a fucking bad bitch and you're killing the fucking game. And I want everyone to look in the mirror and feel that way.
Yeah, that's not conceited. Honestly, and I don't know, maybe this is a bad take, I'm not sure, but I'm like, people who I would even quote as being like maybe conceited, I think they want to believe the things that you're saying, but they don't. And they're just like, I don't know, like trying to speak into existence. I don't know, but
I see that. It's just like, I just feel like this wavelength I'm on right now is like, I keep saying tiers, and like, I'm trying to go up that tier. And some of the people that I am surrounded by aren't on that tier. So they aren't picking up what I'm putting down. They aren't smelling what I'm stepping in. They're not doing that. And it's like, since I'm at that tier, if I care about you enough, yes, I will explain. I will try to get you to understand. But also, if you can't take the time to actually listen and like have that conversation, that's my answer. And it isn't even necessarily outgrowing people. It's just moving forward with my life. And I'm not giving anyone an explanation for that, respectfully. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, I think COVID, at least for me, ironically, like COVID has made me look at social media less. It's like once it became the main thing you could do at that one point in time, it was like, I don't know, now I just don't care to look at it.
No, yeah. And also, like, if you think about it, like the apps, I mean, we've had Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter. We've had it for so long now. I mean, TikTok was the new one, but it's the same shit every day, It's just like, I love seeing people's lives. I really do. Especially people that I know that they have come a long way, or that they were working on themselves, or like, not even going into full explanation of it. I really do like making sure that people that I care about are okay, of course.
Yeah.
And even for people who are my friends and who they're friends with, I mean, I care about those people, but I have cared too much. I've cared way too much, and it has just bit me in the ass. And finally, I'm doing me. I'm doing what is benefiting and best for me in this very moment.
Yeah.
We kind of took the social media intake and then we twisted it with mental illness.
And we came back.
and then we came back to the social media. Well, you texted me earlier and you were like, let's go on this like social media kind of kick. And then I texted you with the mental health, mental illness and all that. And I thought that's where I was going to take it. And that's where you were going to take it. And then it just kind of
did its own.
It did its own thing, and I vibe with it. I hope the listeners vibe with it too.
Yeah, for the listeners, we don't really plan anything. We kind of just pick something as a loose topic and then let it go.
We never don't have something to talk about realistically. And it's just like, I'm kind of basically what I do with each episode is like, I look over my week and I'm like, damn, what really hit you this week? Or like overall in the past month, I kind of do a goal check with myself. And then I'm like, all right, let's bring this into the podcast. And for some, you may not get it. You may not understand it. That's okay. But for others, it might speak to them. So
yeah. I guess we can wrap up. We're going to have some more guests soon. We're going to have Texas back on soon.
Yeah.
It's really funny because like I had all the files labeled, like her audio did say Delaney on it, and he'll hear this because he deals with it. But I had Eddie actually mix last week rather than just master. And he would text me things. He would literally refer to her as Texas.
Texas, yeah.
I didn't even have it labeled that way.
No, that's funny. I mean, yeah, everyone, that's how I'm still going to refer to her that way, but it's good for people we don't put our relationship out there. And this is the only spot where you'll hear about our relationship. We went through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we're still kicking. And if Christian Lingle, can do that, then I'm sure a lot of fucking people can. It just takes the effort, 100% effort from both.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
Which that's what Texas said was 100% from both and not 50.
Yeah. See, that's what I looked more into that. And I'm like, you know what? It shouldn't be 50-50. It should be 100 and 100 picking up. I mean, it can't always be that way, but I would say in a spot of a healthy relationship, more than likely, you can proudly say, I'm at 100% with this person.
That's good. No, I like her, which we know.
Yeah, no,
I'm getting into personal conversation probably on the podcast. We've talked about it. I guess we'll wrap up. Reminder that we have we're about to release a Vulnerability is In sweatshirt. So you can watch the No Subject Apparel Instagram for more info on that. And yeah, you can tune in next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, another thing I was going to say is we haven't really discussed this on the podcast, but on No Subject Apparel, even the Instagram, and it goes into the website, like the clothing of that, like everything that's going on with that, if that speaks to you or anything, like the t-shirts that they have, very comfortable. One of my favorites, of course, but also you don't see a lot of LGBTQ clothing and everything like that. So like trying to expand that and everything. So check that out and see if one of the shirts fits you. And even if you have some ideas, throw it at us. We're always open to that for sure.
Yep. And we also have some like statement pieces that are not necessarily LGBTQ. So that way,
absolutely,
we have something for everybody. And
yes, we love the straights.
Yep. We do.
For sure.
Got those allies out there. But yeah, so we'll talk to y'all next week. See ya.
Awesome. Bye. Thanks, guys, for listening.
You can follow us over at No Subject Apparel on all social media.
You can discover us on YouTube.
And please like, subscribe, follow, and review us on whatever platform you're currently listening on.
New episodes will be dropped every Tuesday.
And you can sign up for our mailing list in the description of this episode to get a personal message from us and reminders for new episodes every week.